Hi, this is Kiara and Paulina from Pencil, and today we'll be taking you through Pencil Spaces. So what is Pencil Spaces? Pencil Spaces is a virtual classroom designed for educators. We have an infinite whiteboard canvas that automatically saves, so you can re-enter the space at any time and still have the same work that you did in previous sessions. We also have video calling, and today we are going to be taking you through all our other features. So here is our agenda today. We are going to be talking about video calling, inviting students, whiteboard tools, our apps, board management, breakout rooms, analytics, spaces management, and our 24/7 support.
So now we will be going over how you can start a call in Pencil Spaces. So from the home page, I'm going to go ahead and click Create Space at the top right corner. And then once I create the space, my space will have a default name that is a color and then a planet. But I have the ability to share this space with my students or fellow teachers by clicking the link and sharing via link. Or alternatively, I could make this space private and invite participants via email. So I'm going to go ahead and invite Kiara to this space just by copying and pasting the email. And then I can choose whether she's a participant or a host, choose whether or not she gets an email, and then send the invite. Now we'll wait for Kiara to join this space. And now you can see that Kiara has entered the space. So now that Kiara is in the space with me, I can click the Start button at the top right to start the call. When I start the call for the first time, Google Chrome will ask me for camera and microphone permissions. So I'm going to click Request Permissions, click Allow, and now you could see that my video is being previewed in the audio and video settings. Here I can choose to mute or turn off my video before I join the call, and I can adjust my audio and video settings here. Then once everything is set up, I can click Done and start the call. Once you start the call, your participants or your students will receive a notification to join. And now Kiara has joined me in the call.
I'm just opening up the email now. I have the email in my browser. And now I can join Paulina in the space. And now I have entered the space. So now that Paulina has started the call, I'm being asked to join her on the call. So from here, I can adjust my audio and video to my liking. And if I would like my audio to be coming from a different source or my video to be coming from a different camera, I can adjust that by clicking Adjust Video and Audio. This is also something that can be adjusted while on a call. So once I'm done, I will just select Done. And now I can join Paulina on the call.
Now that we've joined the call, I'm going to review the different video views and the tools that we have for our video calling experience. So in the whiteboard view, by default, the videos will be at the top right corner. But you can see that I can resize the corner and just drag the videos to fit whatever size and layout that I prefer. I can also expand or maximize the video views by clicking the Maximize button. To go back to the board, I can just click the Back to Board button at the bottom left corner. You also have the option to collapse the video views, and you would be able to see exactly who's speaking at any time. To expand the video views, again, just click the Expand button. Moving on to the video toolbar, you can see that I have the option to mute my microphone or turn off my video. You also have the option to screen share, raise your hand, record, adjust your audio and video settings, and we also have a variety of reactions to choose from. We also have opt-out automatic gesture recognition that you can enable by clicking this red dot here. Essentially, with automatic gesture recognition, I could put up my peace sign here and the reaction will show up. This also applies for the raise hand feature. Of course, this is opt-in, so you have the ability to disable or enable this at any time.
So to share your screen, you can either go to the bottom of your video tower and select share screen from there, or you can go to the bottom of your whiteboard and select share screen from there. When you click it, you have the option to share a Chrome tab, a window, or even your entire screen. So I'm just going to select a Chrome tab. As you can see at the bottom, I have the option of sharing the audio for that Chrome tab as well. This will automatically be checked off, however, this can be disabled. So I'm going to share my screen. And I'll directly be taken to the screen that I'm sharing. However, as you can see, my participants' video tiles are not there with me. So I can return back to Pencil Spaces, and I can see my participants' video tiles from there, as well as the screen that I'm sharing. However, if I'd like to stay on the tab that I'm sharing while having my participants with me, I'm going to enable pop-out video. So this can be enabled by clicking the 3 dots at the bottom right side of your video tower. And as you can see, I have the option to choose a grid view, a vertical view, or a horizontal view. So I'm going to choose vertical view. And as you can see, our participants' video feed has been popped out on my screen. And now if I return to the tab I am screen sharing, or any other tab on your computer, your participants will be taken with you.
In addition to video calling, the host also has access to a set of controls and permissions to help manage their classroom. So I'm going to go to the Participants button at the top right, and you could see that I have controls, so if I'd like, I can actually turn off the video of my participant or request that they turn it on. In the Permissions tab, I can control what my students can or cannot do. So I have the ability to disable microphone, camera, screen sharing, editing, or private messaging permissions, in addition to the ability to create boards. As soon as I uncheck the screen sharing permissions box here, and I click Update, Kiara will no longer have the ability to screen share. As a host, you can get your students to follow you between video views and around the whiteboard by just enabling leader mode. Just click the crown icon at the top left corner, and your students will be forced to follow you between video views and around the whiteboard. So when I zoom in or out, when I switch boards, and when I move around the whiteboard canvas, my students will follow me. When leader mode is turned on, students can still interact with the whiteboard, but I can disable editing by just clicking the log icon at the top left corner as well. If I want to focus my students' attention on a specific video or one of my screen shares, I can just expand the video views. In addition to video calling and the whiteboard experience, we also have a chat that includes private messaging and messaging within the space. As you can see, Kiara has sent me a chat in the general chat, and I can see that she's sent a message. In addition to that, I can see that Kiara has sent me a private message. We also have automatic transcription, which can be enabled. Just click transcription and then turn it on. Now you can see that when I turn transcription on, everything I say gets transcribed. And since this is AI transcription, the results won't be completely perfect, but it's a great way to keep track of what's happening in a class.
So as you can see, everything we say throughout this call gets transcribed. So to upload a file or PDF onto your whiteboard, I'm just going to select Upload at the bottom of my screen. As you can see, you can upload a file from your computer, camera, pencil files, YouTube. We have a lot of options here. However, another option that we have is to drag and drop the file directly into your space. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to drag and drop the file from my desktop onto the whiteboard. So as you can see, a new board was created for the PDF that I dropped onto my whiteboard. And now we can actually use whiteboard tools to interact with it. So here's the pen tool. I can use this to draw directly on top of the PDF that I've uploaded into the space. The highlighter tool allows you to highlight any material also on the PDF or the whiteboard. And I can also erase my work by using the eraser tool.
In addition to the pen tool, highlighter tool, and eraser, we also have a text tool. Hello there. That can be formatted, colors, fonts, etc. We also have a variety of shapes. And we have sticky notes. So I could add any notes or brainstorm with my class. I can also enable leader mode to make sure that my students are following along. In addition to all of those whiteboard tools, we also have a formula editor that is perfect for converting chicken scratch into beautiful equations. So I'm just going to click formula over here, click draw, and even with my mouse, I can create any equation that I please. So now that I've drawn out my equation, you can see at the top that it has converted into a nicely formatted formula. Then I can just click done and choose where I want to include it. This can be formatted just like any text, so it's perfect for students who don't have a tablet or for any lesson plans. We've shown you how you can use leader mode to get your students to follow you, but how do we move around the whiteboard? To move around the whiteboard, you can click pan, just click and drag on the whiteboard to move around. To select items, use the select tool and then click and drag something to move it around the whiteboard. To zoom in and out, you can either use the navigator at the bottom right and click the plus icon to zoom in, or the minus icon to zoom out, or you can just hold Command or Control on your keyboard if you're on desktop and scroll up and down to zoom in and out. In addition to basic navigation, we also have a button called Back to Center. So if I get lost on my infinite canvas, I could just click the Back to Center button and it'll bring me right to the middle. We also have an option to mute cursors. So if I have a lot of students in my class all working on a PDF, I could just hide cursors by clicking the button at the bottom right to hide any cursors that are moving around the whiteboard. This can be re-enabled as well. Moving on to our app marketplace. At the left-hand side, you'll see an option that allows you to open our list of apps. We have quite a variety here. So you can find a variety of education tools for different subjects, productivity tools, and different learning management systems. There are two different types of apps that you can open here. Collaborative apps that are visible to everyone, that anyone can edit, and private apps called iframes, meaning that every student can edit the same app without changing the view for others. So I'm going to open up my web viewer here. A web viewer works similarly to an incognito browser, except that it is embedded straight onto the whiteboard. I'm also going to open up an iframe, so I'm going to search up iframe right here, and I'm going to enter a website that can be embeddable onto the whiteboard. One example of this would be thesaurus.com. Once I add my iframe onto the whiteboard, I can put them next to each other to show you the difference between both apps. So now we have two different apps side by side. When I change anything on the web viewer, for example, I can change the slide in this Google slideshow, or I can change the tab and type in an equation. Whatever I do here will update for all of my other participants. If editing is enabled for my students, then my students can also collaborate together and work on this web viewer. So for example, you could see that Kiara is typing in a function, and then I can go in and add another variable. And this is fully interactive. As you can see, Kiara just happens to be screen sharing, so we can see that everything on her end is synced. When we compare this to the private web viewer or the iframe, when I search up something on the thesaurus, for example, I search up synonym, and I'm looking for synonyms for the word synonym, and I scroll down, you could see that this doesn't update on Kiara's end. So when I look at her screen share, you could see that she's still on the original page. If Kiara searches anything up on the iframe, the thesaurus website, I could see that her cursor is there, but I don't actually know what she's typing. So this is great if you're having students working on separate flashcards, doing independent research, and you don't necessarily want to open up multiple web viewers. So expanding Kiara's screen share here, you could see that she searched up book while I've searched up a different word. If you're logging into any websites, like your Google account or any of your learning management systems through the web viewer or any of the collaborative apps, keep in mind that we do not save your logins and that your login information will not get saved. So once the browser times out, your login information will not be saved and you'll have to log back in again. In addition to these two apps that I've shown you here, in the apps marketplace, we have a plethora of other apps here. Everything from different games to learning management systems, music tools, science tools, literacy and language tools, and much more. We also have a variety of productivity tools where you can even embed a Google document, a spreadsheet, or you could even run an interactive poll or set a timer in Pencil Spaces. Another honorable mention is ChatGPT. We've also added it here as an app, but another thing to keep in mind is that participants cannot actually add apps on their own. The host needs to add the apps. Now that we've gone over the app marketplace and our web viewer, let's move on to how you can manage boards. Since everything in Spaces gets saved automatically and you have infinite space, you also have the ability to create a variety of different boards that you can customize. To open the boards view, go to the top left corner and you'll see a button that says View Boards when you hover over it. Here you'll see a list of all of your boards. I can rename a board as a host by hovering over the name, or I can click the three dots, click Rename, and then change the name. So in this case, I'll change the name of this board to Agenda. I also have the ability to reorder my boards by clicking the 6 dots next to it. If I click the 3 dots again, I have the option to also duplicate the board, lock the board, change the background, clear the board, or delete it. And a more advanced feature that we have is the ability to change access. If I click this, I can choose whether a board is visible to everyone or if it is only accessible to specific students. All hosts have access to all boards, but I can choose whether I want different participants to access the board. I can set it up so that only Daniela and John have access to this board, while Vet and Julie V do not. Once I click confirm, this board will have a little icon next to it that shows me who has access to the board. I could also see who is actively in each board by looking at the little avatar at the bottom left corner of each board. You could see that I'm on the agenda board, while Kiara is on board 2. To navigate between the boards, just have the boards view open and click on each one. You can change the board background by clicking the 3 dots and then clicking Change Background. I can change the pattern of the board that I'm on, as well as the background color. You could also set it as a default for all new boards in the space, or you could just change it for a single board. So for example, I'll change this one to a large grid with a blue background. To create a new board, just click the New button at the top right of the boards view. Keep in mind that by default, your students cannot create a new board, but you can enable this permission in the Permissions panel. So if I go into participants, permissions, and then create boards, if that option is checked and I update the settings, my students will be able to create boards. So now that we've gone over the board manager, let's review breakout rooms. In order to create breakout rooms, you just have to open the boards view and then click manage breakout rooms. I can click the manage button at the top right corner to create new rooms or move different people to different rooms. So I have my main room here by default, which is the main room within a video call or a space. And I can create a different room and rename it. So for example, if I have students working on group projects or working independently, I can have group 1 in a different room. In order to move participants between rooms, I just have to click on their avatar and transfer them over. Now you can see that I've moved Kiara and one of my students into group 1. Once I want to apply those changes, I can just click apply at the top right corner. When I click done and I go back, you can see that now Kiara is not in this call with me, but she's still in the space. I can go back into my breakout rooms and click manage to move Kiara back into the main room with me. From this view, I can also join different rooms by clicking the black join button at the top right corner of the room I want to join. So I'm going to click join, and now it tells me that I'm in group 1. If I join a different room, I'll have access to a different set of boards. You'll also see that at the top left corner, I have the space's name, the room name, and the board name. To move back to my main room, I can just click join in the main room. And then I can rejoin the call. Since I moved Kiara back to the main room, you can see that Kiara is still in this call. Now that I've moved back to the main room, you can see that at the top left corner, it tells me that I'm in Pencil Spaces demo, that's my space. I'm in the main room, and I'm on my agenda board, which is private to specific people.
So here I am joining the breakout room. So as you can see, Paulina is requesting me to go back to the main room. I can either wait out the 18 seconds or I can immediately join the main room just by clicking join main room.
So now we've reviewed breakout rooms. Thank you for the checkmark, Kiara. We'll now move on to analytics as well as our API. So to access analytics within a space, I can click the Session Analytics button on the left-hand side below the chat. Here I have the ability to track every event that I've had in the past. You can see that Kiara and I have been in this space during today's session. Any previous sessions will be on the left-hand side. I can also look at the Events tab to see more detailed information. For example, I can see when someone unmutes their microphone, mutes their microphone, starts or stops talking, when they join the call, etc. In addition, this can be downloaded as a CSV file. So I have information on the participant, the time, and the type of event that occurred. With our enterprise plan, we also give you the ability to configure which analytics you'd like based on your preferences. You can learn more about our API by going to pencilspaces.com/API. You could also find this by going to our website, pencilspaces.com, and clicking for developers. You could view our documentation by just clicking View Docs, great for your technical team, and you'll be redirected here. Or you can scroll down to get more information. For specific questions about your requirements or the API itself, you can reach out to our development team or reach out to one of us so that we can connect you with the right person. So now we've reviewed analytics and the API. Moving on, we will review the Spaces management page or the Spaces homepage. So this is the Pencil Spaces homepage or the Spaces management page. Here I can see a list of all of my past spaces, along with the name of the space, the hosts, and the status. Here I can also see whether the space is public or private, which participants are invited, along with the ability to copy the link and change the invite settings if I am a host of the space. The space that was visited most recently is visible at the top. The status allows me to see who is actively in the space or who is in a call. So as you can see, I can see that Tiara is in the space and there's a green circle around her avatar indicating that she is currently in a call. I can join this space by clicking the Enter Space button. Now you can see that Kiara is already in a call and I can join her here. So that is it for this space's management page. Now I'll have Kiara discuss what resources we have to support you.
So Pencil Spaces has 24/7 support so that you can get the help you need when you need it. To access this support within Pencil Spaces, you can go ahead and navigate to the top right-hand side of your screen and select the Help button. So a typical response is under 2 minutes. You can also scroll through some of our other help articles here, as well as look at your previous messages with our support team.
Moving on to a few of the frequently asked questions that we get from our users. First of all, which devices does Pencil Spaces support? So Pencil Spaces is a web-based application, so it works on any browser, but the best way to use Pencil Spaces is on Google Chrome on a desktop computer. We also have an Android application that works on any Android devices that you can download from the Google Play Store. For iOS devices, Pencil Spaces is available through Safari and Google Chrome, so you can access Pencil Spaces through an iPad or an iPhone when you're on the go. We do have some tutors that like using Pencil Spaces on their iPads, and occasionally they even use Pencil Spaces on their iPad with their computer simultaneously for different purposes. Moving on to the next question, how many participants can there be on a call at any one time? So there is no limit to the number of people who can be invited to a specific space and who can access it asynchronously. However, if you are running a video call with students and teachers at the same time, we have tested the system quite a while ago with over 100 participants with their videos and their microphones turned on at the same time and while interacting with the whiteboard. We also support multi-screen shares where multiple people can screen share at the same time if enabled, so we can really support a very large amount of people. Next question, can I prevent students from editing the web viewer specifically? So yes, you can prevent students from editing the whiteboard by clicking the lock icon at the top left corner, or by going into permissions, so participants, permissions, and then disable editing boards, and then click update. We are also working on adding a lock control to specific web viewers, so you will be able to access that feature if needed. In addition to web viewers, you also have the ability to lock specific objects on the board. So if I select this little scribble I made, I could actually lock the object so that it can't be moved until I unlock it. Moving on to the next question, do students have access to the space outside of live classes? So yes, if a student is given access to a space, they have the ability to revisit the space along with all of the notes that were added to the whiteboard as long as they have access to the space and the boards in that space. However, since you have the ability to restrict editing, you can make it so that your students cannot edit outside of live classes. In addition to this, participants cannot start a call within a space. Only the host can start a call. So even if the student has access to the space outside of live classes, they won't be able to start a call unless they are given host permissions. Since you have the ability to delete a space or even restrict access to specific boards or restricting access in your invite settings, you also have the ability to just remove specific participants from the space after a lesson is completed. Lastly, do all students need to create an account in Pencil Spaces? The short answer to this question is yes. Every participant that joins a space does need to have an account. However, we are working on guest sign-in, where students can just join through a link and enter their names. As of right now, it's very easy to log in. We have single sign-on enabled for Google accounts, Microsoft accounts, Facebook accounts, and even custom integrations. So if you have any questions about this, we can develop a solution that will fit your workflow and will fit the needs of your students. So those are some of the answers to our frequently asked questions. If you have any other questions that you'd like to ask us, you can reach out to our team, or you can ask our customer support team by clicking the help button at the top right corner of your space at any time. Since we do have 24/7 support, you can reach us via email at support@pencilspaces.com. Thank you all so much for watching today's demo. I know that this isn't the shortest video in the world, but we hope that this was thorough and gave you a good idea of all of the features we currently have to offer. If you have any questions or need any assistance, feel free to reach out to us. We're available via email and via the help button that Kiara just mentioned. Our calendars are always open to you, so you can book a demo with us whenever you need any assistance.